Freud in his term, the cruelty of fate, right? And
yeah.
nature really reflects that, is that nature can be cruel.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and in spiritual circles, it's unfortunate because I hear people say things like, I am not my body. You know, I am pure consciousness manifest. And you hear these statements and you think, well, we're incarnated for a reason.
Yes.
Yes.
The truth very often is not simple. I would say, I am and I am not my body. And any view that says just, I am entirely and only my body, or that I am not at all my body, is totally one-sided. And so you have to hang on to, as so often, you have to hang on to both these and don't let them cancel each other out. You have this paradox. And very often where you have paradox, you're approaching the truth of the matter.
We are now in a place where we don't have that awareness of spirit in matter, whether it's spirit in our environment or spirit in the cosmos.
Sure.
So is your answer, I know that you're very well known for Enchantment, your work in Enchantment. Can you explain Enchantment and how that maybe is one way to resolve this split that we now have on a consciousness level of our environment, or the sacredness of our environment?
It's really comes down to an experience of wonder, okay? And that can happen through love, it can happen in relationship to nature, but not some sort of abstract nature, but particular places or whatever. It can happen in art. And one of the key things about enchantment is that it is always both physical and spiritual. It's not a sort of mystical, cloudy, vague experience. It's always you're enchanted by this exact person, only this person out of 7 billion others, right, in front of you. Or this piece of music you're hearing at this moment in time, in this particular place, or etc., right? So it's very concrete, it's very physical and material and precise, but it's deeply mysterious.
It sounds like the way we understand love, or the most romantic feeling.
Yes, it is. I mean, love is perhaps the sort of paradigmatic experience of enchantment. But you can have this kind of experience in all kinds of relationships. It doesn't need to just be with other people. It can be in relation to another animal, a non-human animal. I draw a very sharp distinction between enchantment and magic, which a lot of people find a little hard to understand at first. If enchantment is an experience of wonder, that means it's, technically speaking, useless. What I mean by that is, you can't use it for anything. You can't use wonder. The minute you try to use it, you're in a completely different frame of mind. You're in a sort of instrumental, manipulative frame of mind. Magic, on the other hand, for me, is all about will. It's about trying to change something, using certain techniques, very often dominating techniques in order to make something happen or make somebody do something. It's a completely different mindset.
What do you think about books like The Secret?
Well, I'm afraid I'm rather rude about The Secret in my book. You know, the problem with The Secret, and not just The Secret, obviously, but a lot of similar ideas, is that really it only extends the same mindset of this sort of technological, scientific, industrial world that it claims to be opposing. But what it does is it gives you a spiritual version of the same thing. You can make certain things happen. It's very individualistic. You can be, it encourages the fantasy that you can be completely autonomous, whereas in fact, you know, in a fully ecological sense, including spiritual, we're completely interdependent, all of us. To be completely autonomous is an utter fantasy, and a very destructive one, ultimately. So I'm not too keen on those books. They also assume the superiority of spirit over matter, okay? That you can, as a spirit, you can manipulate matter, as if matter didn't ethically matter. so to speak, because it doesn't have any subjectivity, doesn't have any feelings, and so on. I don't think that's true.
Let's talk about Tolkienism, if we may.
Sure.
Now, I must admit that those seminars on Tolkienism sort of completely went over my head.
Oh, okay.
There were some people who absolutely relished it, and that's because they actually read the books and paid attention during the movies.
Mm-hmm.
I hope to go through a phase in my life where I can actually start utilizing some of the very valuable things you've written
Mm-hmm.
about Tolkienism, and about his work,
Mm-hmm.
and about his philosophical ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps you could share some of them that would be of interest to people who are into his work.
Mm-hmm. Actually, the Enchantment stuff and the Tolkien, my Tolkien interest, are very closely related, because Tolkien was somebody for whom enchantment was a really central value, and I mean enchantment, wonder in relationship, love in a non-possessive way. All those values really are at the heart of his work. And in fact, he was very suspicious of magic too. And see, if you do define magic as he did, as the manipulation of wills and things by an exercise of your own will, where does that leave modern science? Basically, it means that science is our magic, is the dominant form of magic today, is science, because it's all about manipulating, exploiting, etc. Not all, but a lot of it. And if you look at The Lord of the Rings, who is the sort of the most powerful magician? It's Sauron, okay, who runs the most modern state in Middle-earth. Mordor is a centralized state with a very strong bureaucracy, a lot of militarism, a standing army. It's technologically very advanced, and the whole thing is underwritten by and as magic. So there's a kind of awful complicity that I learned from Tolkien between magic and modernity. And as against all that, enchantment takes you out of it and reminds you that there's another way to live. And so actually, going back to the animism, because enchantment and animism are also very closely related, you know, these things sound very fluffy. I mean, animism, enchantment, I mean, how fluffy can you get, right? Actually, that's not true. They have radical political implications. And our masters would really rather we forget all about it and don't have those experiences and don't think about those implications, so that we can be good little consumers, do what we're told, be manipulated, and forget all about the fact that there's another way to live that actually honors life.